Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's episode, I'm gonna show you two games I played recently. So the first game I played was with black pieces, and the major takeaway from the game number one is that when you are making a plan, give a mate or two captures opponent pieces, your plan must not be one-dimensional. You should see what your opponent can do, your opponent can move, different permutation, different combination, what he can do. So this is the major takeaway from game number one. And also let me remind you that the description I'm doing here or the game analysis I'm giving here is only for the beginners. So let's start with the game number one. So the game simply start with pawn to d4, pawn to d5, knight to c3, knight to f6, knight to f3, bishop to c5, bishop to c4, and knight to c6. Here my opponent is trying to fork the king and a rook, and the best move from the computer point of view is that to move my rook to c8, because if it takes, I can take and he captures it, then I capture back with my queen. And here, though we are equal in the points, but in material point of view and according to the analysis bar, I am way up. I am way good. Back to the computer. What I do was move my pawn to e5. My opponent captures with the knight. I play my bishop to d6. Takes, captures my knight, and that's a great move from my opponent. So the game continues and make a couple of mistakes and inaccuracy. So the point I was discussing, or the point I was saying, is that my move queen to b5. It's a typical move that every beginners do, because what was the plan? The plan was that if my opponent plays his pawn to c3, what he exactly does, and it's a great move. I capture it with my knight, what I exactly do, and hoping my opponent will take that knight with his pawn. What that is what my opponent do, and I fork my opponent king and a rook. And because I was thinking, that's like a beginner thought, that my opponent will block with the queen and I'll capture the rook. That was my simple plan. It was one dimensional. I never thought that my opponent can move his king. So guys, if you're a beginner, make a plan that works. And while playing this game, I was hoping that I will not let my opponent king moves to g5. So I move my pawn to s5, because I was thinking that if my opponent plays like this, I'm gonna give a mate, which is a great mistake because he can capture. I was thinking of that. Hopefully my opponent plays bishop to e2, attacking my opponent queen with no reason, with no plan. So the game continues. My opponent attacking my queen here. So at this point too, my opponent has no plans whatsoever. Thanking his rook, I take his rook. He gave me a check. Still, he could have captured my bishop, but that's okay. I move forward to s7. I give me a check. I move my king to g6. He give me a check, and I move my king to f6. There are no further checks. Here my opponent should have captured my bishop. He was planning for a mate. So what I do? Simply giving a check, capturing the bishop. Here still my opponent could have captured the bishop, but it's okay. He gave me a mate and blocked with my queen, and that's a blunder. And I give a check. and that's a great move. And I captured the pawn. So here, according to computer, the best move here was to give a check. After this, I give a check. The only possible way is to block this. After this, my opponent can simply capture the pawn. I do this a check. Sorry, that's a checkmate. So this is how the game should have gone. And forgive me if I'm slow because I'm used to playing the game in mobile, and while I'm recording it's on my laptop, it's a little bit slow. So sorry, what I do, I capture the pawn. My opponent move is bishop to g2, sorry, g1, threatening to capture the queen, giving a check which is of no use. Takes, giving a check, captures with the pawn, blocking with the pawn, captures the pawn, takes, and this is a great move, moving away the king and giving the check, giving a check at g2, and here I won the game. So this is the game number 1 I played, and sorry if my analysis was poor, but it's only the perspective of beginners, how the beginners will analyze the game. It's all about this. So here you could have seen many plan I try to execute and my opponent try to execute with no head, body and tail. It's only a head. You are planning things to do the same with a simple move, and there's no body and there's no head. Body doesn't function if you only have a head. So you should plan properly. So it's with the game number 1. So let's start with the game number 2. So in the game I play with the white pieces, and the major takeaway from this game is that sometimes when you are winning and still give a stalemate and draw the game, it will hurt. So let's start with the game. And also you should learn about the end game. The end game are the more crucial thing, because lot of the time I played the game, I realized that though I was good in the opening and middle game, and during the end game I lose the seat. So this is the same thing about the game number 2. Simple opening. This is the standard opening I play all the time. I should really learn about different opening. So the game is progressing like this, and I don't know why, but I always love the move bishop to e6 whenever if I play or if my opponent play, because if I capture, which I did, and my opponent will capture, so when my opponent will castle, simply castle, sorry, then he have the passing rook, then he can give a mate in the future. I always thought this is the best move, but according to the computer that's the worst move. I don't know. So simply my opponent castles, takes, and I don't know what the point of the move. I actually don't know what the point of my move. Takes this. This is a simple game. For the beginners, it's all about capturing the pieces. You're taking the pieces, we are emptying the board. This is how we play all the time, and the game is not about that all the time. So let's continue. Though my opponent is up a pawn and he's like winning the game, you can see the turnaround in a few moves. You will see the turnaround in a few moves. So the game continues, captures, takes, and here's the inaccuracy. So according to the computer, the best move is here is for a queen trade. Okay. So the major thing about this is I'm gonna take this queen and you will not capture it. So my major takeaway was that, and I did the same. If I have captured with my queen, then he will have definitely captured the queen, traded the queen. I really don't want to trade the queen because he is offered 2 pawn advantages. So I really don't want to capture my queen, sorry, exchange my queen. That will be a big disadvantage to me. So I did the same. I didn't capture it. And here also the major thing one. So if he moved anything else like this, now I move my rook here. It was my plan. So we captured everything. We exchanged everything. It was my plan because now we are equal. So I was hoping for exchange here. Simply I was going for the same thing. Takes, takes, takes. It doesn't take, and that mistake, and it's still a mistake. So I give a check. He moves here. I give a check. It, we exchange the queen. I capture the pawn, and I'm up a pawn. Giving a check. So here the point was that if I go here, give a check here, then it's a mate. So if you move like this, then I can give a mate. So this was the plan. This was the plan. My opponent sees that and he moves that. I capture switch with a bad move because the good move here was to do this. Takes. Move here was this. Oh, and it's a mate. Wow, it's a mate. Wow, I didn't see that. Really, I didn't see that. That was a mate. But what I do, I capture it. Then one captures. I give it check. Few moves, we exchange the pieces. So here, you have seen me. I missed the mate during my analysis too. I missed the mate. That's what a typical beginners. So I was up a metal. I should have really planned. I should have really thought about different combination, a different move I could have played. But I was simply hoping to capture the pieces and thought of winning the game, because for the beginners, exchanging the pieces is all we can do, and I did the same thing. So we should avoid this. After a check, I move my rook to g8, exchanging here, giving a check, and in this position I played this. Sorry, I have played that. That was a great move, and that's a blunder. The pawn to g4 is a blunder. The best move here was really a move like this, because the move from my opponent is this, and I will capture his pawn and get the advantages. Like I will roll my two pawns to the opposite side and I will win the game. But what I did this, capture it, and it's eventually turned into a stalemate. So you have seen that I was losing the game, and I missed the one move checkmate a couple of times, and also drawn the winning game. So this is the game number 2. Hope you like it, and if you want to see other videos like this, please let me down in the comment below, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.